All right. We are here. We are here. That up and do this. Mm, 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 mm. Yes, indeed. We are live. We are live. We are live. Close that out. Disable this. Mm. What up, Chopper? What's good, man? Hey, the homies are coming through. Designer Gaming, what up? Fresno, what's good? Daniel, what up, y'all? Things we need to change for NBA 2K26. Do we even got some that'll make it work for NBA 2K27? I have a list that we can go through. What up, Red? What's good, man? Spanish Jose in the building. What's good, y'all? Yes, sir. Folks rolling and rolling and rolling. I got my coffee ready to go. He said, man, we getting closer to GTA. Hold on, City. I'm holding on. I'm out there playing different games. Recently started playing Prey. So I've been going through like top 10 games that I may have missed. Prey. Prey. And that joint is pretty dope. Right off rip, you're going to get sucked into the storyline. Pause. What up, Scott? What's going on, man? I got some badge for hyping your videos. Hey, that's what's up. Appreciate it, Scott. I got on and it was an update. 2K had another update. They didn't say anything about it. They've been pretty hush hush about the updates. I think they're working behind the scenes, giving us hot fixes to combat against, things like lag switches that are getting more popular. Lag switching is getting real popular. And the difficult part about lag switching is you can't even fully tell what's happening to you. They also got like the quick switch or the quit script. They'll make you quit out. It's just brutal. One of the main things that I think sneaking updates later. What up, Fear God? What's good? What's good? Um, what if it's like wondering what we could do to fix this game? Um, because we're talking about the cheaters, we're talking about 2K27 already. We're only halfway through the annual cycle, and we're already talking about NBA 2K27. Join it's brutal. People really think it's a script when it's not. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I don't know how they do that. I read up on it briefly, but it has something to do with the connection. And they lag switch you, and you start moving in slow motion. Joint is brutal. I mean, like it works on both offense and defense. From what I understand, you just got to be in the proximity of the player, and you start moving ridiculously slow. GB3 and Yadman, salute to the both of them guys. They've been exposing that. What up, King Far? What's good, man? The secret software now is better than a Zen. What I've been researching. Yeah, yeah. You got people out there just purchasing glitch controllers. I got about 3 minutes of cheating playing in the background that I compiled today. I just went through scrolling the internet and putting some clips together to let you guys know the current state of NBA 2K26 for the ones that are in disbelief. What up, Reggie Noble? What's good, man? For them folks that are in disbelief. Lag switch is literally a program on PC, but you got to plug in your console to your PC and you can see people IP address. You can put as much time to disconnect them from their internet. Join is brutal. Join is brutal. That's that's what we doing. That's what we doing, huh? Things that need to be changed on NBA 2K26 One of the main things that and you guys could add on to this stuff, and I'll read them off in the comments. But interior defense and perimeter defense, for some reason, is definitely there's an imbalance there. We know 2K26 is offense heavy. This is why so many people are asking the question, like, why are we even cheating? Why is this the 2K in particular that got the most amount of cheaters in 2K history? Why? When it's the easiest game. Somebody just left a comment on one of my videos saying it's been the easiest year to go no money spent as well. I only created 2 builds this year so far. They're saying that they made tons of builds with no money spent. And they're having a blast. I forget who the person was that left that comment. But yeah, why now more than ever are we getting so many cheaters? What up, Jamil? 2K must fix always giving AI players when going in wreck without a full 5, especially when you have 3 or 4 players. It's so old. That is old. There's nothing more I hate, like, there's nothing more that I hate than going into the wreck and seeing AIs on the court. Don't you think, like, if there's AIs on the court, when we're going into an online game mode, so we're going to compete against other players, we're signing up to compete against other players, and if you put AI in there, if you put a bot in there in the mix, it defeats the purpose of what we set out to do. If an AI, I say this will be okay if you just, some players might want that to happen. Some players have nobody to run with. So they're like, if they get an AI, so be it. But I think everybody else should retain the option to back out as soon as there's an AI into the game. No money spent does seem better. That's what Weeder said. The updates were about some players' overall ratings increased. Justin Solis said, I thought you said you weren't playing 2K for, hold on, let me see what he said. I thought you said you weren't playing 2K for, what was it, a month? You said, or was that clickbait? Yeah, that was not clickbait. I have not played 2K. It's going on, it was the 26th that I stopped. So it's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. What is that? The first, second, third, and fourth. So we're on 9 days now. 9 days of not playing 2K. I had to get on 2K earlier, not to play, but to get some clips for the video I released earlier today, walking into the Coach store. But outside of that, I haven't even been on 2K. I've been playing a bunch of other games. He said, it's still not great with some of the more predatory stuff, but it's better. Yeah, it's good to hear that, it's going in the right direction. Especially when they spam shooting corner over AI. And that's another thing. That's another huge reason as to why all players on the course should retain the option to quit out of the game as soon as the AI is added to the game, because it's so easy to cheese the AI. So in turn, it gives the opposing team leverage. Fear God said, I think it's PlayStation and Xbox fault for not fixing the issue of the Zens and Titans. And I think it starts there, for real. I believe the same thing. I think it starts there. I think is the console or the platform's duty to help mitigate cheaters. And from what I hear, it's easier done on Xbox than it is on PlayStation. And from what I hear about 2K, they have easy anti-cheat for PC, but they don't got it for console. That's something else too. Daniel Berry, what up, man? What's going on, Daniel Berry? Lawrence Walton said, "Oh, City, what's up, bro? What up? What up? Gotta add me when you get back on 2K. Couple more weeks to go. Yeah, so I should be getting back on at the end of the season. So probably the day the new season starts is when I'll be getting back on. They need to add a forfeit option if your teammates are AI. Yeah, an opportunity to back out the game without being penalized." He said, "No clickbait here." I said, "Oh, my bad. I thought this was a live stream of you playing. No, it's all good. Yeah, I'm not playing. We've been live streaming other games as well. Lag switching in theory would happen to the whole team, not vicinity of player, unless it's a script of sorts. And that's what I think. There is some sort of script as well. I don't know what they got going on there, but who was it? Trey Magnum who exposed. Was it Trey Magnum? Hold on, I got the clip. Let me double check. Yeah, it was Trey Magnum. It was Trey Magnum who exposed that the lag switching was somewhat in the proximity, and the player was able to do it on both offense and defense. So if you were guarding the player while he was dribbling the rock, your player played defense slower, and if he was guarding you while you had the ball, you surely was moving slow. So I don't know. Maybe it was just a trigger. Maybe they coincidentally triggered it when in proximity. Breezy said the squad finders, that's what Scott said. Breezy said they need to fix the build more. 70, 80, and 82 all feel the same, but 85 makes you elite. Need more balanced builds because the meta build continues to dominate instead of diversity in builds. There seems to be diversity in builds, but you know, because there are a lot of, I've come across a lot of different type of build setups, but they perform very similar on the court. Lawrence Wallace in the building. But I feel you on that 78 to 80 or 82. They're just incremental adjustments to your player, and you don't really feel the impact. But as soon as you hit like a threshold of 85, you start seeing your player perform much better. Or let someone join your team if you have an A. That's a great option. If you so happen to get an AI on the court, 2K allows you the option to get another player on your team or invite another player into the game. That's a good option. Got some AI that just detects the new Zens. Yeah, I saw that. The names are irrelevant. Another thing that I think needs to change for NBA 2K26 ASAP are the erratic shot contests. Man, them joints have been wild. I know there's so much that's going on, like in regards to calculations on what that contest should be, depending on the player's attributes, their perimeter defensive attribute, their blocking attribute for jump contests, the player's 3-point rating, that shooting, placement on the court, the timing of your jump contest or your hands up contest, the distance of your jump or hands up contest. I know there's a lot of calculations taking place in the background, but it needs to be better than what we got right now. Sometimes they're just way too erratic, where something you would deem considered open or wide open, or they're getting small percentage contests on super late jumps. And then when you do actually intend to shoot between two defenders, you get hit with an open. It's just so erratic. It's like, how could one shot between two defenders be considered open, but this dude jumping super late, not even in proximity, gets a contest? And I know there's a lot of calculations taking place in the background, but they need to adjust some with that. Shu made a video about it. If 2K adapts, it would help. They need to stop being afraid of losing money. 2K is a lifestyle. Ban someone, they will make a new account. Yeah. They need to take this more seriously for sure. They surely need to take this more seriously. What's going on? I dropped a video explaining. I just dropped a video earlier today that we kind of dove deep into 2K's finances, and if you want to know where a company is headed, you just kind of follow the money. Take-Two, the parent company of 2K, has 2K and GTA both leading the way in recurrent consumer spending. And the model that they've created leaves room for no competition. So there aren't any competitors coming in behind the scenes that could even compete with, 2K's budget and their new partnership with the NBA. This is my opinion as business person. 2K should give us a massive refund since they sold us as a product with all these cheating devices in it. The game is broken and you can barely play it. This is the other issue The other issue that comes into play with that is that there's so many different areas of 2K. So you can go into so many different game modes. It's only when you go into online gameplay uh, that you encounter cheaters. And 2K could easily make the argument that that's not um, enough room for a refund. Hey, my brother, we appreciate you, Adam. Salute. That's what's up, man. So yeah, I get it, because some people like myself only purchase 2K to play online. I really don't like going into my career game mode or anything like that. So I only play the game online when I buy it. Maybe about a good 95% of the time, it's only online every annual cycle. So I feel you on that. As we would like to get refunds, but that joint ain't happening. Remember going into next gen console back in 2K21 and waiting 5 years to call this one the best. Pain is real. Yeah, appreciate the 149 super chat. But the pain is real. I was so excited to get on NBA 2K21 next gen. You remember they dropped 2K21 on current gen and they dropped a different version of the game on next gen. And that game was riddled with bugs. It was the easiest 2K to hit legend on, period, hands down. Nothing even comes close. They just said everybody's a legend this year. I want to talk about that too. But yeah, I was super hyped going into 2K21. It just came off a legend run in NBA 2K20. So I was super hyped to just continue again and continue grinding to hit legend, thinking that it was going to be a stable and well put together game. The concept before, if you guys remember correctly, the concept that they developed prior to the release of 2K21 on next gen was that they're going to have so much more capabilities with the advancements in the new gen consoles. So it put a lot for them to work with. And, 2K21 goes down as one of the worst. So they had a lot more to work with, a lot more room to create greatness, and they fumbled. Pro play needs to be tuned heavily. If a defender is in great position, the shooter's animation can still win because pro play prioritize it. I have a different idea of what pro play is from everything, like all the information I've gathered. And 2K used to capture motion through a motion capture system. You have to put on the suit and all of that stuff. And you would have NBA players or whoever put on this suit and go through the motions of a particular animation or what's required for a particular animation. But my argument between motion capture and pro play is that all the subtleties that come with like your adrenaline pumping, you can't capture that while you're in a motion capture suit. Like you can't capture that game set. Like 2K won't be able to digitally capture, a player in game 7 of the finals. You know what I'm saying? And all the subtle details that come when you're in a competitive sport and your adrenaline is going. And I'm talking about getting lower to the ground on a crossover or a particular type of movement where everything is pumping. So when pro play comes into play using pro play to capture motion through video footage, I think it further enhances. It could further enhance the fluidity of a player's movement. It could get those little subtle details in there. Now, with that comes a lot of different things. Subtle details are gonna change the timing of particular move sets. I like 2K26's movement. I think they did pretty good. They're on the right track now, as opposed to 25 through 21. I think 26 is getting there. We still got a little bit to go, but what I'm getting at is I don't think pro play is the culprit. And I think a lot of people had a misunderstanding of what pro play was. And I tried plenty of times to clear up any misunderstandings about pro play. Even to I gotta say, even myself, I felt like there was a possibility that pro play wasn't the system just wasn't incorporated, and like correctly. It was incorporated incorrectly, and NBA 2K26 put that whole idea to rest. I thought we were stuck with slow and clunky movement because they couldn't properly incorporate pro play with motion capture animations together. Um, and 26 is supposed to be the finalization of pro play, and we got more fluidity now. It was a rollout. Pro play was supposed to be rolled out over the course of a few years, and 26 was supposed to be the finalization of pro play, and it's noticeable. It's the most explosive gameplay we've had on next gen consoles without the clunkiness. You know what I mean to say? Like driving to the rack feels way more fluid. Um, your motion or your motion between dribble combinations, speed boosts, etc., way more fluid. Way more. They're closer to what we're used to, at least. Uh, uh, I like 2K15. A lot of jump shots and dribble moves like 17. No cap in the building said I don't F with 26. He said pro play is AI. Man, what do you have me thinking pro play is? He said pro play is AI. Salute, man. I just tried to explain exactly what pro play is. And it's not new to sports gaming. FIFA had that same concept to capture motion through video game footage digitally. What do you think if 2K starts allowing us to gamble and make real money? No, that's not gonna happen. There's like a gaming committee that makes sure this type of stuff doesn't happen to that extent, that you straight gamble and make or lose money. And like Europe is going through it right now, where they're gonna have to, how like in 2K you go to buy a hoodie in Swags and it has only the VC amount for that hoodie costing 10 to 20,000 VC. Well, I don't know how to frame this, but they teach these guys classes to, there's classes on this stuff. There's seminars on this stuff where they teach game developers to leave this sort of like the dollar figure value off of that and only put the virtual currency value on it. And the reason why is because there's a psychology behind it. I'm not trying to play smart here. This stuff that I've heard and seen through these particular seminars teaching game developers. But the concept is psychologically, if you have 200,000 VC, because you purchase a VC pack. So you purchase $150 VC pack for 700,000 VC. When you go see that 20,000 virtual currency, you don't even think twice. You see you have 700,000 VC. You could afford 20,000 VC. Well, in Europe, they're going through certain regulations where they're now going to have to put a dollar figure on that. So that hoodie that's in Swags is going to have a dollar figure on it. Like, what does 20,000 VC, like the difference in dollar amount? So they'll explain that, and they'll have that displayed with the currency, with the virtual currency. And hopefully something like that comes to, like American games, where if we see a dollar figure on there, if we see that hoodie that says 20,000 VC is really $2.99, maybe you'll think twice. You see $2.99 on there, $2.99. You'll probably think twice about purchasing it. It's really, and I'm not even playing a little bit. I could find the video and we could talk about it, but I uploaded it one time before and had a whole discussion on it. I'm not playing, not even a little bit, when I say that there's seminars, full-on seminars, teaching game developers, current and future, how to get money out of you guys through microtransactions. And I would say probably about 80% of the practices are done on a wild psychological level, like measuring your odds to make something happen. If you're on the game for 5 hours a day, how do they make you convert on a transaction? If you got somebody on the game, what does a company do to make you convert on that transaction? And that should help you understand 2K in a nutshell. Their goal is to keep you on the game and because you're on the game, the systems like a casino are all working kind of like against you. And they keep the hype up so you want to compete. And in order to compete at a particular level, or if you only play online for the most part, you're gonna have to purchase advantages, or how do you say, trade your time for money. That's really the trade-off. And 2K sees it like a win-win either way. It's going to be a win-win for them either way. If you want to give 2K your time, they win with player retention and player retention hours per user. If you want to give them your money to in exchange for your time, then they win with recurrent consumer spending. And the number has gone up as well. It's gone up even more, recurrent consumer spending. That joint is, I just checked recently, and I put it in the video today, where we're talking about 77 to 80%. That joint is like a joke to me. To me, that I'm going to explain it. 77 to 80% of 2K's revenue is coming from, or I should say from Take-Two's revenue, and 2K and GTA are leading the way with this. But that's coming from recurrent consumer spending. That large portion is coming from purchases after you already bought the game. That joint, wow, that's like an extremely successful, just ridiculous. That's an extreme success rate. Just wild. All true, all city reads, all this stuff, crazy work, yeah. Imagine 2K Legacy Vault, classics like 2K15 through 20 with online servers through the modern backend. Old clients authenticate to today's servers, cosmetic, monetization only, huge content upside. Yeah, that would be dope. I think people would love that. While 2K is trying to incorporate older aspects of their older games into the newer versions of their game, they could just as easily open up shop. But the thing is, I don't know if you guys remember back then, there were so many issues, and I don't know if these games were properly developed. I guess they could remaster them, but things like lag, where you don't see lag often on the game, like you don't. I know if you're getting lag switch, you'll see it, but just internet lag used to see in game, like your player skipping across the screen. And 2K fixed that to now, even if you're getting lag switched, you're just moving. It's kind of like slow motion. You won't be skipping across the screen. Or how about the error codes for waiting on the dots and all that stuff? With others, they should give us the option to hit legend in my career. I think that's a great idea. I really do. The homie Breezy said, for the ones that don't play online with others, they should give us the option to hit legend in my career. These YNs don't pass. The events are laggy, and I can never level up with the way I play. Well, that's just an opportunity to plug the Discord. You're tired of running with randoms, and you're looking for players to run with. You join the Discord, and I get it. Playing solo, it's a whole different experience. Like, I can't even imagine any longer. If I didn't have anybody to run with, I don't know if I would be playing 2K. What would I be playing? I don't think I'd be playing 2K. The game is so different. They had it in 2K19. OG in the building. I think game speed could be increased. Defense not good either. It's more of an animation being queued than actually playing defense. A lot of defensive animations, they're just not making sense. I see players jumping completely in the different direction than where the person going to the rack is headed. Yeah, it's pretty erratic. And there's mixed feelings there, because I'm noticing that defense is hella erratic. And there's an issue that I just want to touch base on this. Defense on NBA 2K has always suffered. 19 was probably the most balanced 2K we had between offense and defense. That's one. But every year I attempted to make it, and I'm more so talking about interior defense. 19 had great perimeter defense, and I think 26 has pretty good perimeter defense too, outside of plucking the ball loose. Containment, I feel like in regards to containment, it has pretty good defense. But every year I would make a center build in regards to interior defense. I would make a center build every single year, and every single year be disappointed. This is the first year that I haven't made a center build. The very first year. I'm talking about every single year I'll make a center build. Jay Oss with a 299 super chat said, "My friends are straight cheeks." A lot of people feel like that, by the way. This is why we say join the All City 2K Discord. Type exclamation point Discord in the live stream chat, and the link will come up right in the chat. Yeah, running solo is not it. What up, I Hate Casuals? What's good, man? Yeah, it's a different game. I got to tell you, man, regardless of what you want to believe, first, like, our Discord is non-toxic. We do our best to keep it non-toxic.
Let's go,
And
Kochi.
if you're looking, a lot of people don't want to run with other players, one, because they don't want to be judged and they don't want to pass judgment. There's like this weird energy that be in the air. But if you get a chance, you come into the Discord and run with some decent people, you start realizing that people are way nicer than you even allow yourself to believe. If you're running solos, keep in mind that your experience running solos is you're going to be treated like an outsider. So people talk to you as such. But when you start running with other folks, man, the game just opens up. As you get that teammate camaraderie type of competitive aspect to it. I'm from Oz, though. You don't have Cruz here. Best 6'9", power forward, 80 ball handling dribbles. I've only made 2 builds this year. I got my 6'4" point guard, and I've maintained the same consistent animations since the beginning. And I got my 6'8" build, which I only spent probably less than a week on. So I'm not 100% familiar. I definitely check with Koza, because Koza be killing them out there. So check out Koza's channel. And I'm almost certain he recently made a small guard build, if I'm not mistaken, but he was running on larger builds, from what I knew. What up, Trey? What's good, man? To mitigate the lag on shooting off the dribbles, like step backs and all of that. To mitigate the lag, you noticing lag. 2K, each legacy title server dependencies. Each game versions runs in its own isolated environment, so nothing conflicts with the current 2K build. That's cool, man. But I speak English, so you would have to break that down into like extreme layman's. He was about to start running code on me, B. I'm like, nah, I don't know about no. What the hell he said? Containerize the legacy title server dependencies. I don't know what that means, man. Easy to deploy or shut down regions based on demand. Easy rollback if something breaks. No massive QA nightmare. No engine rewrite. What up, Slim Soldier? What's good, man? I get those in games sometimes in the theater. Then other games is boneheads. Yep. I already know the vibes, man. We know we need an anti-cheat. That goes without saying. We need an anti-cheat on the console side of things and a better report system. The way it stands right now, you could either submit a ticket, you could report a player in the game, or you could go to 2K's Discord and talk to them there, or you could submit a 2K support ticket. I went through the 2K Discord, and I dropped this in a video recently. I went through the 2K Discord, and I saw that it seemed like I was going through all the comments, and I'm like, but nobody's talking about cheating. This is the biggest topic in the 2K community, and nobody is mentioning cheating in the area where you can report cheaters on 2K's Discord. I said, no, something weird here. You could just go online and you'll see it everywhere. I just did it today. I typed in NBA 2K cheaters, NBA 2K26 cheaters cheating, and I was just flooded with results. This is how I got this, what I'm playing in the background. So I was going through all of that today. Why is it in NBA 2K's Discord? You barely see anything about cheating. the place in which you're supposed to report. So it made it seem like that stuff was being filtered. Um, it could very well be coincidence that nobody reports it on their Discord. But I was going there mainly. I was just mainly going there. Appreciate the $2 super chat, Scott. If you're paying YouTube member is an additional for a Discord. If paying YouTube member is it additional for Discord? Well, Discord, yeah, they're two separate platforms I can't control. YouTube member is one thing here for YouTube live streams and prioritizing member content, and also it has its own perks, so they have separate perks. They will never fix anything for the betterment of the gaming experience. They've shown us that over and over. Only thing to do is not play. And I've come to those terms, which is why we're not playing here on this platform for the next 30 days. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm challenging myself over the course of the next 30 days. I started on the 26th of last month, and it ends at the beginning of the next season. I should be getting back on around the 26th, something like that. But yeah, I've challenged myself not to play 2K. Like the homie said, the only thing you can do now, especially when you watch the video that I just posted today discussing NBA 2K26's finances and how you're listening to investment insiders explain 2K's place in the gaming industry, they're not going nowhere. And there's no competitor in sight. Nowhere in sight. You could binoculars, all of that. Nowhere in sight. They're not going anywhere. So they have all the room in the world to take baby steps for every iteration moving forward. You don't think, just making sure my billing was correct. Yes, sir, Scott. Yes, sir. My game doesn't lag, it runs smoothly. You don't think if they had a way to completely stop cheating, they would have done it? I don't get where that question is coming from. Because yeah, I don't think they got a way to completely stop cheating. I don't know where. I don't know. Maybe he's talking to somebody else. They have the control of the situation. Nobody does. There's nothing they can do to 100% stop it. Yeah, I guess he's talking to this guy. Man, that's what I got into sim racing. What the homie said here. Cheating is easier to control now. 2K can handle it server side instead of inside the old game. If someone's doing impossible stuff, the server flags or blocks it. You know what? Matter of fact, there's something we need to talk about with that, because there's the new wave, and there's something similar to what Activision is incorporating for Call of Duty. And ironically, I was going to make a video about this. I think it's called AnyBrain. Let me double check that right quick. I'm almost certain that it's called AnyBrain. Yeah, AnyBrain. Anybrain.gg. And what this does, I saw, the people who created it explaining everything that it does. And the differences between this particular type of anti-cheat versus other anti-cheats that are incorporated into the system to identify cheating devices. This has nothing to do with that. What this AnyBrain anti-cheat is supposed to do, which could have been incorporated into any game, by the way, is it detects movements at the pixel level to help identify. So first, I guess it had to create like a profile of player movement. What are human players able to do versus an AI or device? The tendencies, the mannerisms, the characteristics of a human player versus, a device. And this, it does it at the pixel level. So if anything is off, wrong speed at the pixel level, imagine that. It'll identify you as a cheater. And then furthermore, on top of that, because it creates this somewhat of a fingerprint of your profile, because every player moves differently. There's these subtleties that we may not notice with like the naked eye, but at the pixel level they can identify this stuff, and it ends up creating a blueprint, like a profile of you playing online. And what this can potentially do is not only ban you, and it won't allow, you know how you get banned now and then you're able to kind of just create a new account and log on under a different name? Well, this profile is your fingerprint, so it identify you ASAP as soon as you come in. And that's what they're pushing. They're pushing the idea that it's a fingerprint individual to you. So you in turn get banned in every instance you attempt to log back onto the game with a new account. So I thought that was pretty dope. I thought that was hella interesting. We can't stop it completely, but doing absolutely nothing is criminal. Something can be done. Well, first is acknowledging that there's a problem. That's first. The first thing that I think 2K can do to benefit everybody is acknowledge that there's an issue at hand. Thanks again for all you do. Salute, Adam. Appreciate that, man. You're ready. Even if they couldn't stop cheating 100%, they could do things to fix the common sense issues. Like every time you get in the paint, the ball get poked easily, but people can spam dribble and no pokes. Yeah, the way in which the ball comes out of your hands sometimes is just erratic as well. Yeah, but you're only thinking Zens. We're past Zens already. We're we're past Zens. I just saw a video today of a guy saying how he doesn't use a Zen or a Titan, and he's saying them joints are cooked. Don't buy one. You're just wasting your money. And he was showing, he was he was displaying how he was cheating on a live stream. So yeah, it's pretty wild. If 2K wants to monetize, give players options we actually enjoy as an option, not a replacement. Anti-cheat can't work on PC. Try not to speak too nerdish. I'm coding. I learned that in order to prevent something, you have to have memory injection. Program systems, so they are already locked to do certain tasks. They can do an update, but it'll have to have a complete structure rehaul. 2K knows this. That's why they can't do nothing. So you're saying they would have to overhaul everything in order to really fix the problem. Devs are just moving really slowly on fixing cheating, and that could be either because they don't have the ability to stop it, or higher ups won't allow them to because they hit to the bottom line. So I think they're running the risk. This is just my opinion. I feel like if it'd be extremely short-sighted to think that not addressing the cheating issue that's going on in NBA 2K26 would help your bottom line. 2K is a super large company, and they think 5 years ahead, if not 10 or more. So when you ruin the integrity of a game, that's when you could really affect numbers. Like, I've seen it happen throughout the gaming industry consistently. Cyberpunk is a great example of this. What happens when you drop a game that's super buggy? And if you start to crack at the integrity or chip away at the integrity of a game, then you lose the trust. You lose the consumer's trust, and they're less inclined to purchase the game next year, let alone find security and making a microtransaction. So trust is like a big thing for 2K, and nothing will break the trust more than a player who goes and spends, his $100. He buys the game for $100 to $150 or $70 to $150, and then pays another $50 to $150 for a VC pack to develop his My Player, and then he in turn takes that same My Player developed into an online game mode to compete, and finds out that there's cheaters that have just infiltrated the whole game mode. It'll make you feel like you just wasted your money because you can't even compete. Everything you grinded for is irrelevant and rendered useless because you're playing against a device. So I think that alone, especially if you're a solo player, or you say you're not even fully invested into 2K as a franchise, which I want to add, I feel like that's what the player base has turned into. A lot of like a revolving door of players that are no longer as committed to the franchise as like say some of the older generation of players. So they go in and they see that they go through that whole experience and it's like, oh hell no. Nah. I just wasted my money on this game. I can't trust them. And who's gonna be singing 2K's praises if they got rid of cheaters? And we had to go through a whole year of cheaters. Consoles are programmed systems, so they are already locked to do certain tasks. They have an update, complete rehaul. Yep. Hell, for all we know, the people who make the cheat scripts or whatever probably an inside man. We keep hearing that. I wouldn't be surprised if that information comes out. They would have to fix the problem by the internal NBA 2K code. They would have to tear it down to nothing and add in anti-cheat. To build the anti-cheat for console would take time to add in. Makes sense. I got you. Long story short, 2K can fix this by leaving the 2K engine and use Unreal Engine 5. It already has the exact same stuff that 2K already has. Only thing different is the UE5 has built-in anti-cheat system. The Unreal Engine 5 has the built-in anti-cheat system. Players get choices, creators get content, 2K gets revenue without burning goodwill. The higher-ups in charge know this, so they know. That's another thing. This is where I think, like I made the video today about 2K's finances, how much money they make. I'll give you an idea. It's rumored that a game like 2K is spending upwards of $300 million on their budget. If 2K refuses to acknowledge what's going on with cheating, where do you think the heads of 2K, the higher ups in Take-Two, the publisher of 2K, what I'm trying to get at is I feel like these guys are on a whole different stratosphere. Like the amount of money that we're talking puts them on a whole different stratosphere where cheating on 2K is like a minuscule problem. Oh, the numbers are good? We straight. Telling me about cheating. The numbers are good. Look at the numbers, B. What are you telling me about cheating? I don't think they'll see those numbers of like, they'll probably see the impact of the NBA 2K26 experience. They'll probably feel that impact in 2K27 or 28. Rod Rice said, I'm having fun in casual theater. 2K uses visual concepts for basketball, but uses Unreal Engine for New Mafia, and it doesn't look good. A lot of people are saying that too. A lot of people are saying that Unreal Engine has issues with making games look good, and it might be a developer issue. The long rep grind, something else that I know people are going to have mixed feelings about this, but might need changing in NBA 2K26, maybe in future 2Ks. That rep grind is ridiculous. The idea of getting 0.1 for your efforts out of one whole game, getting an A+, having a 40-point game with 20 assists, having just an amazing game, shooting super high shooting percentages. And maybe I'm exaggerating, but let's be a little more generous in describing this and say, let's say you get 0.4. 0.4 rep per game. Can you imagine like the arrogance to create this concept? We'll give them 0.4. I'm sure there were people in the war room, in the conference room, saying, who's going to accept 0.4? And it was like, trust me, they will. They'll accept 0.4 rep. It keeps them on the game longer. That's just wild. That's just wild. And here we are. We accept it, and you got folks sweating it out. No shower. They got nothing but fast food lined up on their gaming desk. Haven't seen the light of day in I don't know how long, and they do that for 30 to 45 days just to hit legend or be the first one to hit legend. Completely unhealthy. Rotting their brain and probably doing the same to their body for that whole 30 to 45 days. Smelling something crazy. This is a wild, B. Nostalgia is one of the strongest forms of player retention in gaming. Why not lean into it, 2K, instead of fighting it? They are kind of fighting it. I ain't gonna front. They've incorporated like NBA 2K16's Park, but that had to do with a lot of push from the 2K community, consistently telling them bring back the older games. So they found a way to make that happen, but incorporate it into the new game. And I think we're just in a different space right now where we see all these Call of Duty games and everything they have on offer. You would think that 2K has the ability to just drop a part from NBA 2K16 standalone, charge $10 for it, make a DLC and incorporate it into the game as, Park servers, 17, 19, 20, and give us the option to. I feel like a lot of us feel like we're there already. Like we should be having these type of options already. And one, we're willing to pay for them as well. They're confident because they're gatekeeping. Ha! I think I explained that perfectly in the video I dropped today. Gatekeeping is exactly right. Think about it. In what business do you see there's no competition? There aren't many businesses out there where there's a Target, there's a Walmart. Where there's a Food Lion, there's a Kroger's, Harris Teeter. When something's successful, investors are going to be there to put up their money. When something is almost guaranteed success, like a video game, a basketball video game guarantees success, there's only one in the market. EA was so close. Like EA was just right there. They tried to like go behind the scenes, and I ain't saying that EA was doing something sneaky, but 2K was sleeping on college basketball, even though college football had the biggest sales, the only game to outsell 2K. The only game to outsell Call of Duty at that time. The only game was the college football game on the year of release. So them sales were crazy. They made a ton of money. It was super hype for college football. They wanted to recreate that same excitement for college basketball. They wanted to make that happen. And EA was right there. They had their, the college licensing committee sent out proposals to a bunch of publishers that might be willing to make a college basketball game. 2K was one of them. EA was another. EA submitted a bid for a standalone game, including all the teams, while 2K said, nah. I'll give you, they said something along the lines of, I got all the snippets for this stuff, and I made videos on this stuff, but 2K said something along the lines of, we'll incorporate somewhat of a small DLC into our game, and if that DLC makes upwards of $3 million in sales, then we'll consider making a standalone game. The college licensing committee was definitely not hearing that, especially coming off the hype of college football. So they said, nah, 2K, you wildin'. They ended up recommending EA, and that's when EA sent out that teaser post after they got that recommendation. Mind you, this is all under non-disclosure agreements. Neither one of them was supposed to talk or share the details of this whole process even taking place. So wild stuff it's just wild stuff. When I say no competition, and 2K makes sure that They signed the non-disclosure agreements. 2K disregarded the non-disclosure agreement, from what I understand. Mike Brown is the one who reported on all this stuff. And they ended up going to the conferences directly, persuading them to kind of hold off the bid. Don't give it to EA just yet. That gave time for 2K to create another bid to meet that proposal from the college licensing committee. And they in turn swiped it right from EA's hands. And now 2K is making that college basketball game. No competition in sight. And there's none coming anytime soon. Bring back the online server for 16 on PC. But that's actually solvable now. You don't need to renegotiate everything from scratch. You can relicense digitally, limit usage to legacy modes, and swap. Well, in regards to license for the NBA joint, I thought that was interesting as well, because it was completely open to the public the last time that 2K signed the licensing agreement to use the NBA players' likeness and names. And I think it was in 2019 that they signed a $1.1 billion licensing agreement. The success of that licensing agreement, success for both 2K and the NBA, led the relationship between them to change from licensor to partnership, creating NBA Take-Two Media, a whole new venture. Semper Reloaded with a $4.99 super chat said, just out of curiosity, I searched MLB, the show Zen Cheaters, and there's virtually no videos on it. You figured it'd be as bad as 2K. All right, so I'm glad you put that in there, Semper, and I'm glad you super chatted that. I appreciate the super chat, by the way. I did the same thing this past week, so I have a video idea in mind to extend like past 2K and see what's going on with all sports games. I did the same thing Semper did. I started putting in my little search terms and seeing if there's anything that's affecting other sports games like the Zen and these devices, scripts are affecting 2K. And it seems like it's just 2K. FIFA has some stuff with scripts, but I checked MLB The Show, FIFA. There's 4 games in total. MLB The Show, FIFA, 2K, and what was the 4th one? I got a thumbnail for it. Give me a second. Let me pull it up. Double check it. I created a thumbnail. Oh, and Madden. So 2K, Madden, FIFA, and MLB. Madden, they have more in-game exploits. The other games seem to have more in-game exploits, taking advantage of where the developers slacked off, as opposed to devices infiltrating the game modes and allowing cheats and scripts to run rampant in there. I'm just shocked that someone was cheating. It's sad that I'm actually really surprised to hear that, because cheating has taken over pretty much every corner of competitive gaming. Well, I saw the same thing Semper just put, and I just did that this week. And I'm trying to gather more information about this stuff, to compare against the cheating that's taking place on NBA 2K, but there doesn't seem to be any comparison. 2K is well ahead, and they did this in the span of just NBA 2K26 release to jump so far ahead of all the other games in regards to cheating. What up, Bruce Wayne? I was surprised as well. I mean, I already had created a thumbnail expecting to research all this stuff and find out all the scripts that are involved with Madden, all the scripts that are involved with FIFA. And I thought for sure MLB did have something as well for like, I think it was pitching. MLB did have some type of script. That's what makes you wonder they're in on it for real, is what the homie T said. We're talking about small money. The cheating, I'm not saying that they're not. and I'm not saying they don't have tremendous sales, but when you match it up against 2K's money, it's small potatoes, and it's such a small portion of the actual player base. Uh, and maybe this is why 2K doesn't see it as an issue. I think it's spreading faster and faster every single day. But is that one cheater in his 5-hour session of playing 2K could affect countless other players? That's the difference here. Although the number of cheaters are probably insignificant when you match it up against the entire player base, one cheater runs the probability to affect so many other players, like word of mouth spreading, like an auto homer. MLB has scripts. I watch streamer who plays the ultimate. That's what they mentioned, Ultimate Team. Yep. They mentioned Ultimate Team as well. I remember some along. I don't know much about Ultimate Team, but they kept referencing Ultimate Team. Yeah, Madden has exploits that might as well be a cheat. And I know this has to do with selecting particular plays and how you set up. As far as shutting down the cheating, another huge problem is this $1 trillion industry, and despite gaming companies going after them legally, it's not slowing them down at all. And that's kind of concerning. It's like there's a lot of money in the cheating industry, and it's definitely turned into big business. But I'm telling you, if the gamer loses, if the gamer continues to lose, maybe we'll go back to the appreciation for offline games. Maybe it's just a matter of the online gaming industry, because there's still an affinity by a ton of gamers for single player games. I love single player games. I'm looking forward to Crimson Desert. That's going to be my next gaming love. The pay to play, and then we get sold. Yeah, 2K encourages pay to play, and then they sell you out on the back end. That's exactly what I'm feeling too, Scott. That's exactly it. They encourage you and have all the gameplay mechanics developed in a way that encourages pay to play, pay to win. Purchase this advantage if you want to get advantage in game. Purchase boost. Purchase Gatorade boost. Level skip to level 40 to get your cap breaker. Pay for an advantage, and then sell you out when you get into the game. Like, joint is crazy. Just sell you out. Have you walk in there like walking among sharks with no security. You walk into the club and everybody got black Air Force Ones on and a shiesty. No security. You rocking a big chain. Pro play is more like pay to win. Gotta hurt their pockets. Stop swiping. Facts. It was easier for me this year than any other year. I guess I'm just at that point of no return with 2K. Like, you gotta show Pookie. I never thought I would have a year where I only created 2 builds, and I have no intention of spending another $1 this year on NBA 2K26. That joint crazy. I never thought, even with all the complaining over the last 4 years, I was still spending money, but not this year. And ironically, I don't even think NBA 2K26 is that bad a game. Like, as far as the gameplay movement, speed, I think they could increase that slightly. But I think it's one of the best gameplay experiences over the last 5 years outside of cheaters. And they still got a lot more to fix, minor adjustments, but going as far as direction, I like the direction they're going now. I think a rebirth badge is too OD for a person that starts play 2K at 85 overall to go against a 99 overall automatically. What will gaming come to? Because it is all aspects of gaming, and we who are honest and wasting money and patience. Well, I mean, it definitely isn't all aspects of gaming. Maybe it's the idea of facing off against other players, so competitive gaming. That's where it becomes like the main heavy issue. Another big upside to 2K Legacy Vault is accessibility. Any console and PC could play together since the server-based platform doesn't matter. I thought, right, yeah, podcast. I feel like the gameplay podcast at NBA 2K26 is actually really fun. I think a lot more people are having fun. It just so happens that when you're able to execute on offense, you have a lot more fun. Maybe if they fix the hands up defense, playing against cheaters would be more tolerable. The contest system in itself as a whole is erratic. Like the contest system, they got some issues to work out there, man. And I guess they had to do with the whole 7-4 shooting. I guess they had so many issues with the 7-4 shooting, and when they made Mike Wang sent out a post asking what should the contest be if a defender is solely in the proximity but doesn't put his hands up, and the winning vote, I should say, the winning vote is that players should receive somewhere between, I think it was a 0 and 5% contest with no hands up. In other words, not doing anything to contest, but simply because you're in the proximity, you should receive a contest. And after that, man, it's just been erratic. Semper with a $4.99 super chat said, I watched a ban video where MLB is banning people accidentally playing bots, but he didn't notice they are banning Zenners. But he didn't once say they are banning Zenners like we do. Would be nice to get some Nintendo bots in our rec. Crazy thing is, next year the hype will get everyone again. It's different. I'm watching it be different every year. I ain't gonna front y'all. It could be a part of the community that I've built and the community or culture that I was once a part of in NBA 2K, because I feel like the culture has shifted so dramatically. So, but from my experience, I feel like a lot of people are leaving 2K. It's no longer, not that they'll leave it completely, but it's no longer their daily driver. The game that you put in daily to spend hours on. I see a lot more people leaving. You ask how many people in this chat right now will say, my friends, they don't play 2K. I would run with my friends, but they don't play 2K. Oh, my friends, they don't even play 2K no more. They don't even load up and play. I've heard that so many times this year. Sim racing is dope. I ain't gonna front. But you see that player's taking SCL Highlight said if 2K fixes the contest system correctly, there will be less complaints because we can guard them effectively. If they make a contested shot every once in a while, I'm saying that's okay. And I feel you to a certain extent, because the shots that cheaters are taking, players with devices are taking, are so different from a shot selection of somebody who doesn't have a device and who's become accustomed to what is considered a contest or not from any particular defender, usually the highest defenders if you're running the point guard. So normally, I still feel like the contest system is erratic, but normally I would know what's going to be a contest simply by positioning when I'm taking my shot. These guys are shooting even quicker and somewhat unorthodox setups to get their shot up. So what I'm basically getting at is that if they increase the defense to the point that they're able to contest against these unorthodox type of shot selections out there, then what does that mean for the average player? It's like a boost to the shot contest system to affect Zens is definitely going to affect us in a dramatic way. A good contest should be considered a good contest. I believe that. But with the contest system, being increased, I guess it worries me that it'll get even more erratic before it gets better. I guess we got to go through the motions to nag people in my crew to get on 2K. See what I'm saying? You're not naming yourself after NBA 2K or 2K related. I feel that. Spanish Jose said you not naming yourself after NBA 2K or having like a 2K related type of name was a blessing. And I tell you, Spanish Jose, that was a consideration that I made on the forefront in the very beginning. We named it All City Live TV. We were live streaming every day. So I live streamed maybe like the first 2 years without really creating content, just live streaming. And one of the considerations that I made in regards to selecting a name was to make sure that 2K wasn't going to define that name. I have to nag people in my crew to get on. Scott said, had 2 sons, 3 friends, and their friends. We had 12 of us in NBA 2K20, and now there's only 2 of us. I still play, but I sold 2 accounts. I made more money than I spent. Hey, that's what's up, Earl Blaine. He's a hustler. He's a hustler, homie. Man, there's so much money in account grinding, selling accounts. You don't believe what some of these folks pay for accounts. You don't believe what they pay. I tell you, that joint be wild. Skill-based matchmaking. I tell you, skill-based matchmaking is something different in NBA 2K26. You know what? It's like a gift and a curse. I feel like the skill-based matchmaking on NBA 2K26 is a gift and a curse. I would only play occasionally if it wasn't for the league. Are you streaming Arc Raiders tonight? I don't think so. I'm not sure. But skill-based matchmaking, the reason why I say it's a gift and a curse is because I get to see like what it does to players. I love that casual player who's not invested into 2K could come home after a long game, maybe logs on an hour each night. Maybe less than 10 hours in the week. And they could stay in their bubble. You know what I mean? They're not facing off against sweats consistently. It's the same type of plates, the same type of players that you're running into at the same skill level. The amount of time that you invest, that's what you're playing against, for the most part. And then all the cheaters, because they're cheating, they advance their plates way quicker than your average player, so they end up at the higher end of the plates anyway. I feel like it's a gift and a curse in a way, because at least I remember back then we'd be able to mix it up. So, you get an idea of what a higher skilled player looks like, and know what super tough competition looks like. And just know that like those players are out of your league. Like you say, all right, this is where I'm settled at. I'm going to be this type of player. I don't want to sweat it out because I don't got what it takes to invest that much time into 2K. I'll settle over here in my little cozy corner, my little cozy casual corner, type of thing. And I think skill-based matchmaking is keeping players safe to a certain extent from experiencing the sweat fest, but it's also hindering the advancement of their gameplay and what they're capable of doing as a 2K player. Understanding particular mechanics or rotations or spacing in certain disciplines, and all these different things, quick stops and speed boosting animations and crabs and all these different things that the higher levels of competitions offer at a much more advanced level. I would like to see them mix it up a bit more. But I have mixed feelings. I feel like it's good to keep those players safe, that they really just want to have an enjoyable experience when they log on. Because there's nothing worse than being a casual with a casual team and going up against a full-on Sweatfest Game 7 type of Pro-Am team. There's nothing worse. And they're trolling you the whole game. He said, I won't play random above silver. So I either play with non-main builds or I intentionally lower my plate. And that's what I was going to get to next. Thank you for lining that up, Semper. That's exactly right. Deplating. You know, there was a live streamer. I saw a Twitter clip today. I forget the guy's name, but there was a live streamer who's openly admitting of deplating because he's a dad. He works, he said. He said this all on live stream. And he's not trying to sweat it out. He's just trying to come log onto the game and have fun. And his concept of having fun was playing against players at that skill level. My favorite rec play is purple plate and then silver. So I kind of felt that way too. But before starting this new challenge of not playing NBA 2K26 for the next 30 days, I was running and gunning on 2K26. And because we were running and gunning, just playing every day, hours upon hours on end, I often had red plates on my team, which in turn meant we're playing against other teams of red plates. And it's not like so much so that red plates, it's not like you define a player solely by their plate. But usually at red plate, one, you're going to run into more cheaters. But at those levels of gameplay, they really know what builds to put, the most optimal builds to make and have out there. To create the best, create the best odds for them to win. So these are the type of players that you play against consistently, 99 locks with a great swing. All players on the court know the proper rotations and all that stuff. They just play differently. Whereas, if I'm running with only silver plates, what do I see? What do we face off against? Consistently, we see teams with not a lockdown on the court. The difference in the mindset of what they choose to bring out there. And for some people, that can make the game way more enjoyable. You don't have to worry about a 99 lock sweating it out as you're bringing the ball up the court. I love beating comp with a lesser team, but I'm a 2K OG. That could prove to be a nightmare. I love it too. I like the idea as well, but it's happened with folks that we just put together teams from our Discord community. That's when it's like really rewarding. We put together, whenever I would go online to play an NBA 2K26 prior to starting this challenge, I only send out a message in our general chat in the Discord. This means that any one of you guys watching or have joined the Discord could join into the party chat and get a run. So this happened a few times where we will put a team together of complete randoms. We don't know them. We're just trying to get to know each other and build chemistry on the court. And a couple times it's just such a rewarding feeling when you put 5 strangers together, all on good vibes, all grown, and just all know basketball. You know that team when you get on the court, because all you need to say is like, I got bottom left, I got bottom right, boom, 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 and everybody else knows everything to do after that. You don't need to explain rotations. Everybody just knows. This just such a thing of beauty, man. So that's happened a few times in the Discord, and it's extremely rewarding. I ain't gonna front. But yeah, you got folks out here deplating so that they could have the experience that they want to have. The experience that they find most enjoyable, they'll deplate, lose their plates so that they could play against lower tier players. To be honest, I'm not a fan of the rewards we get. It's all copy and paste. I also would love for them to get more shoe rewards or something like that than clothing that cost me 20,000 VC for one item. I'd like to comment on that. One was that Lil Arl. One, I come from the era where not only did we not receive rewards, the only reward that we would receive was on on Christmas. That's the only reward that we receive. We go to the Christmas tree and get an ugly sweater. Not only did we not receive rewards, we used to hear this out. And this is probably going to be mind-blowing to half of the new jacks that just got on 2K. We used to have to pay. We grind our way to Superstar 4 or whatever, the level in which you're supposed to be rewarded with a mascot. And when you had a mascot, you stood out from amongst a bunch. You saw a mascot. Yo, there's a mascot running around. That was how it was. Not only did we not receive a reward for that, we had to pay $300K to have the opportunities to wear a mascot. So not only did you have to grind, they slap you in the face. Bang. You wasted your time to get to this level, and we reward you by giving you the opportunity to give us more money. $300K too, on top of that. $300K for a mascot that they now give away free multiple times in a season. So I play center bills, treasure the facility. I can get my buckets whenever, but I'm having more fun setting up others. So like I feel like the rewards are copy and paste, and they could do a lot better with the rewards, but in comparison to what we used to have, oh Lord, the community is spoiled in that regard. They're just spoiled in that regard. It's irrelevant to me. I barely wear any of the rewards they give us. I barely, I'm only interested in the max plus ones, plus twos, and the cap breaker. For the most part. And I'm having less and less interest in that stuff as the years go on. It could be age could play a factor in there, or I'm just getting tired of 2K's copy and paste stuff like the homie said. Yeah, huge grind to buy a $300K mascot. So it just so happened it was an NBA 2K19 or NBA 2K20 where they had to spin the wheel, and on 2 back-to-back days, I hit for a million VC. I made a video about this stuff. Like, yo, I'll show you exactly how to spin the wheel to get a million. So I hit for a million, and as I was making the video explaining how to hit for a million, I went to the wheel that day, spun, and hit for another million. So that allowed me to buy a bunch of mascots. Otherwise, you would have to purchase virtual currency to get that mascot. They didn't offer my Pistons hopper. All right. One other thing that I wanted to get into was bailouts. So my point guard I've been running with the whole year is the same build. And I've been cap breaking my pass accuracy to get it to 85 so that I can finally have the bailout badge. These bailouts are brutal. I'm watching centers. Let me not even say centers because a lot of centers have high pass accuracy now. But I'm watching other players perform bailout passes that are just ridiculous, driving into the paint and no-look bailout passing back out to the three-point line and getting away with it. And then here I go down the court, just put a bunch of cap breakers to get my 85 and 85 pass accuracy and finally have the bailout badge. And my teammate is literally 3 feet away from me. And, I'm breaking down my defender. I attempt to take the shot thinking I'm more open than I am. And they're going to get a contest on me. So I bail out to the dude that's 3 feet away from me. And he patty cakes the ball. It drops right in front of him. He's now stuck in a stunned animation from the patty cake. And the defender, I get a turnover. The defender gets the rock. I feel like 2K has to work. Bailout was never this big a deal. I don't know why the 2K decided to make bailout such a thing where we look like idiots out there that can't pass the rock to a dude, our teammate that's right next to us, especially when you attempt to grind enough to get that bailout badge. It's happened to me since having the bailout badge, which is why it's a little extra brutal to experience. Yeah, Weeder, that's how I feel. The joint is just brutal. So I feel like bailouts definitely need to be improved, and I heard that it'll happen to you even at 99. The stun can animations definitely need to go. Yeah, it runs it up for a free dunk. Passing is, and generally, I gotta say, I didn't create, last year, I think it was last year where you needed high pass accuracy. Um, and folks were putting their pass accuracy at 90, 91, I think it was. And this year you was able to, finally create a build that's had a fair amount of pass accuracy, not like super OD in the 90s. So I started low this year and I didn't feel like it was that big an issue. But that's mainly due to the limitations on defense. We come across a sweaty team, you see a bigger issue. But as I kept adding cap breakers to my pass accuracy, I was like, oh, this is suitable. I'm making some decent pass. I'll get turnovers here and there for sure, but I'm making more passes than turnovers. So I didn't feel like passing was such a huge component of your offense. The passing attribute didn't have that much of an impact on your offense this year until you attempt the bailout, which is what's so confusing about it. Yeah, the NFL catch animations, that's another thing. The NFL catch animations, they don't even make sense. Everybody's calmly walking up the court, and you go to just pass to the corner, and he has to jump and and lunge at the ball. Like, it's just silly stuff, man. Silly stuff. Midnight Hollow said the fumble catch animation needs to go as well. Unnecessary, especially when you add things like no dip catch and shooting to the game. If you are fumbling the rock on a no dip catch and shoot, forget about it. Your timing is completely off. That joint gone. Passing is a major part of my game, so for it to be so dysfunctional this year is a lot of pain for me. Yeah, I feel like, when I say I'm talking about the impact of passing is less as significant. It's not as stiff a penalty as it was last year for having a low pass accuracy, is what I'm getting at. So yeah, I think for me, passing is a huge part of my game as well, and this is why I was saying that. Challenger doesn't really work. From what I understand, jump contests are factoring your blocking attribute. Hands up contests are factoring your perimeter defense attribute. The next one on the list is meter dunks. Oh, Lord. Lordy, Lordy, Lord. I love the explosive gameplay of 26, and I love that I could drive to the rack and it feels good to dominate in the paint if I wanted to. But there's like these little sprinkles of just receiving like erratic dunk meters that just go all over the place and don't make sense to what's actually happening on the court. Now, when NBA 2K made the adjustments to shot contests, they were factoring in the way in which they would determine contests was your hand to the ball release. So if you're releasing the rock and there's no hand in the proximity of the ball, then you're straight. You're good. All too often in NBA 2K26 driving, I drive a lot more on this game. All too often, I'm driving to the rack and I'm the only one even in the air. There's no other defender even in the air. And I'm pushing past, one defender over here. This defender's coming from this side. I'm the only one in the air solo at the rim, but my dunk meter goes from gigantic to a pixel. That can't happen. There's no one contesting me. I already made it past the defense. Why am I receiving such a dramatic change in my dunk, in the size of my dunk meter, when there's nobody making a contest? Now, I will say, like I said earlier, I like that you can get a lot of dunks off. But every now and then you're going to experience this dunk meter fluctuation that's humanly impossible to time. I have 6'7" centers and I'm 6'11" power forward shooting in my face. Contest is not there at all. 6'7" centers, and I'm a 6'11" power forward. Shooting in my face contest. It's not there at all. Joint brutal. So yeah, I feel like that's hella erratic. Dunk meters, they need to kind of fix this idea of proximity for somebody in the paint. They're not even recognizing the animation that's taking place where you're alone at the rack. Impossible for you to miss this dunk. 2K needs to recognize those differences. There's no contest there, so I shouldn't be affected. My dunk meter shouldn't be affected, is what I'm saying. True Hall of Fame Bill's in the building. What up, bro? What's good, man? Hopefully you good. But yeah. Hopefully they could work on that. Some of the things that need to be changed for NBA 2K26. These are things that they could fix now. In case 2K feels, because they have been really quiet, in case 2K feels like, hey, the game is functioning properly, the game is fine, maybe they have some references to say, oh, maybe we could adjust this, or maybe we could look into that. Dudes be 6'11" with no block and no perimeter D, and then they complain. I kind of get that too. I that's a good point that the homie made, because the other homie was talking about his 6'11". What did he say? Icy J said he has a 6'11", and he has 6'7" centers shooting in his face. And then this homie said, dudes be 6'11" power forward with no block and no perimeter defense, and then they complain. And I've seen that happen as well. So I have a 6'4" guard build, and I could understand it from both sides, but I have a 6'4" guard build. And the homies that I run with will tell you, out the corner, I'm getting some crazy contests and timing the jump properly, or even hands up at times. Just playing proper defense, aware of what's actually taking place and the tendency of the dude who's shooting out the corner. So if he's a no-dip catch and shooter, I'm going to play him closer, and I'm going to jump ASAP if they pass him the rock. Even if I'm jumping at a pump fake, I'm going to jump. My backup will be there shortly thereafter. So with my limitations on defense, I'm able to get contests at 6'4", which players should be easier for them to shoot over me. I still get a significant amount of contests that limits the amount of shots that go up in my corner. And it's facts that folks that have limited defense oftentimes do complain in this regard. They're looking at the positioning on the court, disregarding like their challenger badge level or their perimeter defensive attributes. They're saying, well, I'm there, I'm in the vicinity, I should receive a contest. And that's what's confusing about this, is because you'll see a taller player be in the same position that I'm in as a shorter player, and I jump to make a contest and I get this level of contest, and then a taller player is in very similar positioning but doesn't receive that same contest. It's just erratic. Switching your meter, Sleeve Chick says switching your meter dunk graphic to ring may help. I never really considered switching my meter. I might consider that. Yeah, I heard earlier that there was an update. How does this sound, City? We play a game where mechanics are broken, cheaters are running wild, and the devs increase our bad spending habits. When does the community wake up and say no more? Well, to tell you the truth, that's what I feel like is changing. I don't know if you guys agree with this. This is just my perspective. This is what I've noticed happen over the years. Like I said earlier, we don't have the same committed player base. The player base is not nearly as committed as they once was. So what I mean to say is that affects the idea of community. When we were a community, ideologies were spread. You get what I mean to say? So if it was frowned upon to have boosts, that spread. If it was started to become frowned upon to not have boosts, that spread and influences the community as a whole, and in turn creates a way of operating on 2K. So it's like, if there's no community there in 2K, almost like the divide and conquer mentality, if there's no foundational aspects of the game, like there's no foundational aspects of community, I should say, or those have been torn apart, then it's easier to divide and conquer. It's easier, and I don't mean to sound so dramatic. I just mean to say, when we say where do we go from here, I think it's actually happening. That's what I'm trying to get at. All this stuff is actually happening where the community has turned into a revolving door of players who are less committed, but they're always gonna log on to 2K like a novelty type of thing, family and friends, things like that. Um, Not to say that there's not committed players anymore. I'm not saying that, but it's certainly evolved. Like the culture and the community has certainly evolved. So coming together to say, what do we do? Like, can we come together? Dudes aren't invested. They don't need to. What they do is just log off. There's some BS log off. And I think there's some ramifications that 2K is going to have to suffer through for creating this revolving door of a player base. And that's going to be long-term effects. I think it's going to be long-term effects where now they may be raking in money because the revolving door is always spinning, players coming in and going, coming in and going. It's only going to be a matter of time, and it's going to be consistent experiences like what players are having on 2K26, where they come in, they see what's out there, and they dip out ASAP, and they're going to put down 26 for good. They're not committed to the franchise, similar to me playing MLB or me playing Madden or FIFA. If I go in an online game mode, I experience cheaters or some type of weird blowout thing that's happening there, I'm dipping and I'm never coming back. I'm not tied to them. I don't know the sport like that. So I'm not going to play this joint like that. I think that's what's happening with 2K, and I think we're seeing it like happen right before our eyes. How I would love it to be no more, but I think the ramifications are going to be, less and less players committed to the franchise. When you have a player base like this, they would easily turn their back. And I don't think 2K sees that they're developing this like they're developing this in the culture. They've changed everything. We used to have our own opinions, our own thoughts about 2K. We watched it grow together. We built it together. And when you take that, like the heart of the game out, you have the joint is just going to be soulless. Doesn't feel like it's an arrogance, dictatorship feel to them. They don't have to respond to the cheating or fix anything. Just ignorant, take it or leave it in silence. You have to be a certain level of arrogant not to think. Legitimate arrogance. We've told them with our wallets, we've already said to them with our wallets, you're good. You don't got nothing to worry about. So I think they're legitimately ignorant or choosing to be ignorant on this issue. In other words, I feel like 2K, considering how much they invest in marketing, like we was talking about their marketing budget in today's video, upwards of 300 million. That's what is rumored. When you have that type of marketing ability and marketing genius, you're going to continue to sell. The only thing that could eliminate you from meeting certain sales goals is having a competitor. 2K make sure there's no competitor inside. Move out the way. No competitor inside. We got this. Spread our wings, and they gone. They fly every year. And after listening to the investment insiders today, they explained that in great detail. They control this joint, which is why the homie said it's like a dictatorship, kind of. I wouldn't reference it as a dictatorship. I wouldn't necessarily reference it that. But I know what you mean. General J Rod, what up, man? $10 super chat say, yo, City. I have a 6'6" shooting guard with a 99 perimeter, 88 steal. What would be the next defensive attribute to start taking up? Block 6'6". Block or interior defense. I ask because most of the time I'm put at the 3 instead of the 2. there's different ways to answer this question. So like, and this is part of the benefits. I don't run I don't run solo. And whenever I'm running, I'm making sure that there's somebody on the court that can make up for any weaknesses, strengths and weaknesses on the team. I'm not trying to be dramatic here. I'm literally telling you exactly how I would think if I had this player. Um, so the next thing I would factor is, how does the team use my player in particular scenarios? You say you have a 6'6" that'll normally get put at the 3 instead of the 2. So I imagine at the 3 is normally the lockdown defender that's on the court. But if you're not going to play lockdown, then you do have a 99 perimeter, so you will be playing the lockdown. So if, I would just imagine, how do I play with this player and how my teammates work around me? If we're going to do rotations, are we going to triangle? What's going to happen here on the court? What scenarios are we running or running into? Do they want me to follow the player? Do I have maybe a slower center that may need to stay corner to avoid giving up that corner 3 on a slow rotation? And do I need to follow the ball handler into the paint? These are scenarios you're going to ask yourself, and you'll come up with your own answer. But if you're running with a consistent team, then these are things that you'll discuss. Like, you'll work out. All right, like for instance, I'm thinking like we have Don that I play with, and if I'm running the lockdown, although I don't have a lock, but if it is me at the top, then I will call Don in for a rotation if I have limited block. There'll be a rotation every time, and we'll just make our rotations that much quicker. I'll let go a lot sooner so I can meet the hash shooter. I can let go of the driving ball handler and go to the hash shooter quicker. Don will rotate out the corner and, make whatever contest. So I think those are some of the things that you would have to ask yourself. And if you run solos, then you're gonna have to measure that against, like, what's your consistent scenarios that you're running into and being put at a disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? So, because I really don't know the depths of using Zen. I play games, not realize I didn't have boost and didn't see a difference, but that's just me. I also have high offensive stats, so I'm not sure that's a factor. And also depends on, what role you're playing on the court. A spot up shooter who literally only takes spot up shots and don't even put the ball on the ground is not going to necessarily need ball handle boosts. And if you have a 99 3 ball, you're not going to fully notice the differences against lighter competition, having shot boosts or not. Against much tougher competition, you'll see a significant difference there. You'll notice that maybe you shouldn't have made that shot, type of thing. But that's another factor. At lower skill levels, you may not be in need. If you're a much more advanced player playing at a lower skill level, you may not necessarily need every single boost in every category. You would probably only put shooting boosts on. But if you're playing at higher levels, those windows of opportunity shrink drastically, and damn, I need every advantage I can get, type of thing. Well, go on, Mars. Well, go on. Everybody good, man. Hopefully you good too. Can't have two people playing the same position. Oh, I missed what you said, Scott. I don't know if I missed that. I just saw aim rebound. So Zen is like using a cheat mode in Call of Duty where the players can see through walls. Well, it's something like that. Zen is the device that allows you to input scripts. And those scripts what they basically do for you is, like, an auto green will perfect your timing, your shot timing to green. So every shot that you throw up is green. I'll give you an example that'll help you maybe understand a little bit more. I don't know if it still operates in this way. They may have advanced the scripts way more by now, but they used to operate off of pixels. So you make your green, like, if you're, it'll move your bar until it hits a green pixel. You know what I mean to say? So, and you could incrementally adjust from that point to hit the middle of the green window for whatnot. So that's what I understood about them before. But they have so many scripts now, they just kind of, it's almost like a device that's pushing buttons for you. You know what I mean? Or like the defensive script that they have out there that mirrors the movement of the ball handler in front of you. Basically, the scripts are playing for you out there. True Hall of Fame Bill says CEO of the Random Rec Association of America, 2K can't even put centers in the same game. They'll have 27 fours on the other side. One side, I have a 6'11 power forward as a center. Yeah, they that's brutal. He said, what you said, 27 fours? They'll have 27 fours on the other side. 2K can't figure it out. That's the issue. You're having that issue with matchmaking and Random Rec, too. Maybe that's why he's saying. I see two centers on the pole. That's what ICJ just said. Bro, I'm tired of being the 5, and I see two centers on the opposite team. Positioning in the game has been awful. This might not be popular or realistic opinion, but what are your thoughts on removing boosts? Removing boosts will be great for the game. It doesn't hurt anybody. You know, only person that hurts is 2K. But if they remove boosts, see, when 2K sells you boosts, there has to be a significant and noticeable advantage. And I know sometimes that significant or noticeable advantage is subjective to the particular game mode or level of gameplay that you're playing at. You want to see the advantage of like skill boosts, Gatorade boosts. You're playing against tougher competition, you'll say, oh, I need you're really just purchasing an advantage to move one or two more steps or perform one or two more dribble moves. Do you get what I'm saying? And that could prove the difference between creating that shot scoring opportunity or not. But there has to be a significant and noticeable difference in order to even continue selling boosts or the effects of boosts. Not to say that you can't play without boosts. You can still make that happen. But in those tougher situations, you're going to say, damn, I wanted that boost. If they remove boosts, then they would have to like restructure the importance and impact of your individual attributes per category. They'd have to make it significant. Like there's no additional add-ons with boosts to your jump shot. A 99.3 is that. A 99.3 is what does a 95 ball handle mean? And the thresholds that you normally would have to meet, which change every year, by the way. Like oftentimes they're changing by a few attributes what's more important to particular, and this is often tied to particular moves, how you move on the court, and especially in regards to dribbling and speed boosting and particular animations you need. 2K has always been about thresholds. For as long as I can remember, it's a certain threshold that'll get you to perform at a certain level. And 2K Boost just kind of add on to that threshold where if you have more Gatorade, and the concept behind Gatorade, the 2 blue bars, the whole concept behind that is that you could perform better for a slightly bit longer. You have you can perform more dribble moves. You know, you have the ability to kind of slow down the depletion of your energy, your stamina. And in turn, this gives you, that one additional dribble move granted you the ability to shoot at a higher bar. You know, if you're shooting at a lower bar, lower stamina bar, it affects your jump shot tremendously, and you're more than likely going to miss on a low stamina bar. That's just the 2K way. In case you guys didn't know, if you have a low stamina bar, you find yourself missing, you may be misjudging your stamina on the shot. So, these are what those boosts do for you out there, and taking them out just means that there'd have to be more of a significant meaning for your attributes. They need to mean more. Every attribute should matter. They could easily do away with boosts and get away from the idea that people are purchasing advantages in game. And like I said, I feel like I said once before that I feel like 2K cultivated this culture of cheaters. I know some of you guys may not be in agreement with me, but the mindset of saying I'm going to go purchase an advantage with boosts, skill boosts, or Gatorade boosts, I'm going to go purchase an advantage by level skipping to level 40 so I could be ahead of the pack in the beginning of the season and get my cap breaker, adding an additional advantage. There's like a cultivation there of players purchasing advantages. And to add to that, from the player's perspective, what's the difference between me purchasing an advantage through 2K or purchasing an advantage through a third party, like a Zen or Script? It's not too far apart, is what I'm saying. The idea is just right there in game. So purchasing it from a third party is nothing to the new wave players. What up, Diesel? Not buying boosts will let me save way more VC from playing so I can have more builds. Yeah. Now I hate 2K and Arc Raiders. I have nothing to play now. You hate Arc Raiders? Why do you hate Arc Raiders, Don? What up, Don? Wagwan. They have perfected the art of being dependent. I came just to talk about that season pass, including temporary badge upgrades. This most recent season pass. You're talking about the, I forget what they named it, but the one on the bottom left, like where it upgrades. I think this season it upgrades your badge one level or something like that at the start of the game, if I'm not mistaken. What is it, Hot Star or something? I grinded to level 40, hit it within 2 weeks. This past season. This is exactly why I know I'm going to be back on the game. You know, we're doing the 30-day challenge. So 30-day challenge of not playing 2K or playing any other game but NBA 2K26. We're on day 9. Tomorrow's day 10. We're almost there. And I've just been playing a bunch of other games. Having fun doing it too. Max +1s and max +2 badges resetting every season. We know there's an incentive for 2K to build on player retention. They use max +1s and max +2s so you can grind out the seasons starting from scratch. Your player, if you built your player anything like me, your player is at a disadvantage without the max +1s and max +2s. So you know, like you'll have to grind those out ASAP if you want to experience your player playing at the most optimal level. I would love for 2K to find the way to make it easier for us to have those max +1s and max +2s. Maybe complete a challenge, something that allows us to, you know, I know they tried to incorporate that with the build specializations, but you know, we just build upon that. We just end up building upon that when we're creating our builds, considering the build specialization. So I would love to have my max +1s and max +2s at the beginning of every season. Whatever way 2K wants to do that, so be it. But I would definitely love to see that happen. And also, XP tokens need to carry over. You know, I'm hearing my homie Don saying, yo, pop XP tokens. I'm like, I ain't got none. And I remember we used to have consistent when they first started these seasons, yeah. I would roll over at the end of every season 6 tokens. I always had tokens at the end of every season because I never popped them. More recently, I'm trying to go through the seasons because I hadn't played NBA 2K26 as much as I would play other 2Ks. So I'm rushing through season 3 and rushing through season 4. And I have no tokens to use along the way. Don, he purchases the Hall of Fame passes or whatever pro passes they are because he's rich. So he has a bunch of tokens and he says when you purchase them joints, they give you a bunch of tokens. I'm like, shady boots, man. I used to always have tokens left over and now I get none. But if you purchase that pass, shouldn't you especially be allowed to roll them over? Like, especially, you should be allowed to roll them joints over, at least in my opinion. Just insane. What's it to 2K? Like, what's it to you, 2K, to allow us to roll our XP tokens over? One of the main reasons I would like to roll them over is because I can mess around and save the XP tokens so that one of the seasons I could advance all the way up. I could just pop tokens and, have my rep go up super quick and just advance to that cap breaker one of the 9 seasons from saving my XP tokens. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 2K resetting your XP tokens every season, just like they reset your max plus ones and max plus twos. You guys remember the one time that we had a new season and they didn't reset anything? I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I knew my joint was frozen here because I'm like looking at the comments and like, yeah, my comments ain't even moving on here. Yeah, my comments have like, see if I could refresh it. Well, I could just read them through here and pop out this chat. Scott said, I want them tokens. Can 2K be sued for having pay to win mechanics? So, no. That's like the answer. They've been in the headlines from the largest publications, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Vice Magazine. I have all the articles, and I oftentimes every year share these articles, share the lawsuits, class action suits. 2K is somewhat like bulletproof in regards to lawsuits and ideas of suing them for things like what the homie said. Let me reread what he said. Pay to win mechanics. You remember earlier I told you guys that there's whole seminars on teaching developers, gaming developers, how to monetize their gameplay and increase the revenue per user, the revenue that increase the amount of money per user that players spend. There's all by design, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here. This is just a fact, y'all. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory. This has nothing to do with conspiracies. These are facts, known facts. Gaming developers will use these type of mechanics to keep you on the game, increase player retention, in turn, incline you to make a purchase. It's the way the system is designed. What up, Jermaine? And it's little things like that. Like the homie said, we used to get them in a daily spin. That's been taken away. You get what I mean to say? It's little things like this that say, hold on, if we just remove this from the daily spin, then they'll have to. Maybe 2K wanted to get it up on their level skips, and it happened. That's exactly what happened. They minimize one area and they say, well, make it longer for them to reach this over here so that it'll impact level skips. He said those 50 million letters, those 50 million letters that you have to accept before you play the new game when it drops has all that in there. We just don't bother reading it. And Don is telling you facts. Someone recently tried to sue 2K over the amount of VC they spent on an older game. And they don't allow you to transfer that VC to the newer game. 2K's argument was exactly this. at least along the lines, maybe not verbatim, but along these lines. You do not own the VC you purchased. That is simply an asset that 2K lets you use as a part of their license. Virtual currency is an illusion. You give them your real money, they give you a virtual currency, which you could use in that particular game. And the argument for 2K against that lawsuit was, you don't own it anyway. That's ours. We're letting you borrow it. We dictate what happens with that VC. You don't own it. It's like saying that you own the game when you didn't just purchase like a license to use it. It's the same concept, and that's what 2K has incorporated into their recurrent consumer spending and microtransactions. Same exact concept. Terms of service. Actually felt good, and I deal with any lag switching. Nice. That's what's up. Mars Blackman said, with the anticipated release of GTA 6, do you think it will have an impact on the player population? I'm trying to figure it out if the hype is real. It's basically a new shiny object. Well, now I do a lot of like research on the entire gaming industry. Because I have another channel that I'm trying to build up to create more consistently on. And that encompasses the whole gaming industry. GTA is the hype is real. It's not going to be a fluke. Simply the mention is, I just want to give you guys perspective of the power of GTA on the gaming industry. Simply the mention of a possible release in a particular time frame changes the entire gaming industry and what they intended to release. So let's say a publisher, not even in the same genre of gaming, let's say a soccer game or something. GTA is so big and there's so much hype behind it, and there's real hype, like it's really gonna happen, this stuff, that soccer game may not even want to release in the same time frame as there's no gaming developer that wants to release in the same time as GTA. It completely disrupts the entire industry. It already happened when they announced their first release, where companies were reconstructing their rollout process for their particular games around GTA's release. And then GTA announced that they were going to have a delay, and boom, that changed everything as well, because now you're going to have to change or restructure how you're going to do it yet again. And hopefully it doesn't land in the same time as a GTA release. So yeah, they're not only, it's not hype, they're really disrupting other gaming development companies and the entire gaming industry. So I think every game is going to be affected, but the difference with 2K is that the culture is so closely aligned. The player base is so closely aligned. And if you're an NBA 2K player, you're likely going to enjoy GTA. And yeah, I think it's definitely going to affect the player base. And although Take-Two is the publisher for both GTA and 2K, it ain't like 2K doesn't want to retain those numbers. You know what I'm saying? Officially, what you said? He said, City, I'm out. I graduated boot camp. Congrats, man. That's what's up, man. Salute. Salute officially. That's what's up. They said when you go to the movie theater, you don't own it. It's just a form of entertainment. That's exactly what Ronnie 2K said. He tried to compare the amount of money that you spend for a movie ticket going to the theater. He attempted to compare that, how you pay $20, $30 to go to the movies. He's saying you pretty much should consider yourself lucky to only spend the $100 for NBA 2K to get countless hours of entertainment when you're spending $30 to get 2 hours of entertainment when you go to the movies. It's exactly what Ronnie 2K said. Yep. Half these issues can be solved if they made the My Career and My City should be free to play. It shouldn't be attached to an annual cycle. That would be dope. I think you're right. It's like a hub. There's a player hub that's constantly ongoing, similar to like a live service game. There's this hub in place, and when a new year or annual cycle intends to drop, is incorporated into the hub. You said when you go to the movie theater, you'll get to keep the movie. That's how Saints Row got run down and never been the same by competing against GTA. Yeah, you don't want to do that. GTA is a monster. I think my chat just got fixed. Okay, it updated. Yeah, GTA, they're monster. I wouldn't mess. I wouldn't mess with them. And this joint is not hype. This joint is very real. They're gonna change everything. One of the games that I'm looking forward to way more than GTA is Crimson Desert. I think that's gonna be my next go-to game. Heavily looking forward to Crimson Desert. You guys might want to look into it. But I'm anticipating that game more than I am GTA. We're gonna be on GTA though. Another thing that I think 2K needs to change. Why do I need to go into my seasonal menu to claim something that I've earned, a level that I've earned already? I don't know if it's the idea of the animation that 2K doesn't auto claim these things. Even if they could allow the animation to take place when I go back into the season menu. But why, like, if I forget to claim the item, will I just miss out on it? I already reached the level. I accomplished the goal of reaching the level. Why do I need to hit claim? So I was hoping that 2K could incorporate something like an auto claim or even an option. Auto claim all my season rewards as I accomplish them. Don said he can't wait for Gang Beasts 2. That's Don's favorite game, by the way, Gang Beasts. He loves that game. Don's been playing. He's like a Gang Beast pro. And you could check out Don on his OnlyFans playing Gang Beasts. He does this every single day. He's in the top 10 every single year. Top 10 Gang Beasts. But yeah, if y'all want to check that out, hit up Don's OnlyFans. Something else that I wanted to talk about was brand placement. One of the things that most gaming developers have trouble with is brand placement or advertisements in their games. And the community has like a zero tolerance for that. Not the 2K community. The gaming community has a zero tolerance for brand placement or advertisements in the game. And as soon as a game attempts to make that happen, the community goes into an uproar. And it's something that cannot sustain so far, hasn't won a battle in gaming outside of 2K. 2K just did this thing right. They've created a city that has billboards. They created a city that has stores already incorporated into it. So they found a way to get advertising dollars from brands minus an advertisement. And trust me, 2K went through heat because they tried to do advertisements in the game, and that joint was swept under the rug. The community spoke on it. Man, that joint never got removed so quick out of a 2K game. I think they were giving like movie advertisements, things like that. But what I find most genius about 2K is that they found a way to avoid the scrutiny of having brand placements in game by consumers, and the scrutiny that's involved with that. And they made it organic to the point that we're going into 2K, loading up into the city and walking into a Coach store. Genius. I mean, no other game is able to make that happen. It's very difficult for them to make that happen. Now, if it's sports related, it's understandable. You're going into like an NBA store or an NFL store, or you're getting like, you play golf, you're getting Tiger Woods clothing, or you're purchasing Tiger Woods clothing. That's something different relative to the game. And 2K is very different because these are not jerseys you're wearing. You're wearing regular street apparel, and 2K is able to get advertising dollars from them, double dip, and then get the consumer and player base to purchase, getting more dollars for their brand placement strategies. Looking forward to Forza Horizon 6 and House Flipper Remastered Collection, among others. Nice, Midnight Howler. Yeah, I heard about Forza Horizon 6. I would love a 2K where they got rid of steal attributes. Steal ability should be attached to your perimeter defensive rating. I feel that the steal attribute inflates the expectations of players. And I think you're right about that. It does inflate the expectations of players, and 2K has been having trouble meeting those expectations. Ironically, I have a super low steal in comparison to other builds out there, but I put myself in the right place, majority at the right time, and I get a good amount of steals when you match it up against my attributes that I put on my build. But then you have a 99 steal and a 99 perimeter defender out there who should normally be going crazy with those attributes, and he's just lunging right out of the passing lane. Can't seem to time that passing lane correctly. A lot of it, I think, is user error a lot of times. But even with good defenders and the 99, everybody's going to be disappointed with their experience when their expectations are so much higher trying to meet that 99. But I feel you on that. Hey, on that note, I think I'm finna wrap it up, man. We had I covered every topic that I wanted to go over in regards to changes. So we might end up making a video on this stuff. So I appreciate all you guys' feedback and, keeping that dialogue going. Tuning in to the live stream was super dope. As always, wishing y'all safe and blessed rest of your night. I'll catch y'all on the next video or live stream. Easy out.